This is Inside Troy Athletics, a look at what's going on and what's coming up for Troy University's Trojans. Now, here's your host for Inside Troy Athletics, Jonathan Sellers.
Hello and welcome to Inside Troy Athletics. I'm Jonathan Sellers here alongside Jeremy McLean, the Director of Athletics for Troy University. And Jeremy, no football last weekend, but y'all were still busy as usual. I know y'all were down in Dothan for the cross-country championship, Sunbelt Championship meet, and I know it was a successful event in all. I know Troy not quite as well as they wanted to do, but still pretty good finishes for the cross-country team down there.
Yeah, it was a really good event. It was our turn in the rotation from a conference standpoint to host the cross-country championships, men and women's. We as we began looking at that about a year or so ago, we talked about what our options were, where we wanted to host it, and because of some of the terrain near campus, it's difficult because of the hills, and so we identified our Dothan campus as a great place to do that, and our staff worked exceptionally hard, our coaches, our physical plan, our people down in Dothan, our event staff, getting that ready and making that go off really without a hitch. So it was really well-run event. Coaches from across the conference were really complimentary. From a competition standpoint, we didn't finish quite where we wanted to. I think talking with Elliot a little bit after the fact, I think he would love to have placed a little bit higher. But at the same time, he's still building that program and that roster, and they have made progress this year. And so still a lot to take away, a lot of positives to take away from that.
And I think one of the positives was the number of fans that turned out. And that's not something you see very often, and they don't often get a chance to see a great championship meet. And that was the opportunity down at the Wiregrass. So that's got to be exciting for them to get that opportunity.
I think it was, and I've heard that several times from the conference, from the coaches. The way it was set up was really spectator-friendly. So not only were people there, but they were able to kind of get close to the race and cheer their runners on, and it was a lot of fun to see. And so, I took my son down there. We enjoyed watching him compete. So it was a good spectator day, and I hope our athletes enjoyed that.
And some other things we had on campus this weekend. Volleyball wrapped up their home schedule with a win against Appalachian State, 2 in a row, but then a tough loss against Coastal Carolina, who has come into the Sun Belt and really showed that they belong across all sports.
Yeah, it was a good weekend, good senior day for our seniors. We got the win, like you said, on Friday, and then had a tough one against Coastal. They really are going to be, and I kind of said that all along when people ask about them coming into the league, they're going to be really competitive and successful across the board. People kind of look at football as, what's going to happen in football. It's going to be a couple of years before they transition, but really across the board, across country, they actually won the women's cross country this weekend down in Dothan. The golf programs, volleyball, obviously baseball won a national championship last year. Men's and women's basketball, Cliff Ellis is the head coach there on the men's side, former Auburn coach, and so they're going to be really, really good. They're going to make us better as a conference, and that's really exciting to see.
And then the volleyball team will get the opportunity. They got 4 more games left. Still, maybe could make a run into the conference tournament, but they will wrap up that schedule in the next couple of weekends.
Yeah, still, I think mathematically we have an opportunity to qualify for the conference tournament. We'll need a strong finish here, and hopefully they can get that done on the road.
And then soccer, they will be playing this week in the Sunbelt Conference Tournament. They get a chance against South Alabama, which Troy's had a little good run against South Alabama recently with football and then volleyball, and they're hoping that continues this week in the Sunbelt Tournament.
Yeah, so we on Wednesday night we played down in Foley at the conference championship against South Alabama, as you said, and we beat South Alabama during the regular season. I think they only had 2 or 3 conference losses during the year. They've been kind of the perennial power in our league in women's soccer. And so we did beat them during the year, and I hope that gives our team some confidence going into this conference tournament and matching up against South Alabama.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about the strength of the league right now. Last week we talked to Coach Jason Hamilton, and he talked about the parity in the league, and just he could have been anywhere from 3rd to 8th, where they happened to fall into the 8th place. So it just shows how good the league has been this year. And then several teams kind of wrapping up those fall schedules. Tennis is still 1 more weekend, but they've been playing well, and then golf has wrapped up, and men are playing right now, wrapping up their fall schedule.
Yeah, that's right. Tennis had a great weekend this past weekend, and they got 1 more tournament on the schedule moving forward this coming weekend. I've had a good fall, men's and women's, in a lot of regards. And then men's and women's golf too. Like you said, they're finishing up. I think just saw some results on the women's side. I think finished 4th in their tournament this past weekend, and and then they'll finish up their fall season. But a good strong finish for them, and then the men are finishing up strong in their tournament as well. So a lot of positives there to carry over through the holidays and into their spring season.
And we haven't gotten to football yet, but we will in just a minute. I know we just have a lot to talk about. One other sport that is getting things started is basketball. I know a lot of excitement around both teams right now, and there will be some exhibition games for fans to get the chance to see both teams before they finally hit the court for regular season. Yeah,
that's right. So our exhibition part of the schedule really happens this week, and excited about that just for people to see our teams play and compete. They played some scrimmages and closed scrimmages and things like that. But excited to for our folks to get to see them compete, for our team to be in front of our fans. So excited about the season. Obviously, the women are coming off a Sun Belt championship. The men are really I think have made a lot of progress and added some key components from a team perspective, and so excited about what the season holds on both sides there.
And I know Shanda has set the expectations high. I think I heard average 90 points per game this year. I mean,
I know you're not surprised. She would shoot for that. So,
but yeah, very exciting.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, get out in there and watch the women if you get the chance. But let's go ahead and talk some football. I know they had the week off, and October was really a strange month for the football team, how the schedule played out. And again, early November will be a little different how that's going to play out. But very exciting time, and 3 straight home games for the Trojans coming up.
Yeah, some unique nuances in the schedule this year, and the fact that we had an off week and then played two games in 10 days or 11 days, and then had another off week. So I played 2 games in October, which was really unusual, and so now we're back, like you said, 3 games in a row at home, and it's going to be a big stretch for us. We've got UMass here this weekend, kickoff at 2:30. Going to be a beautiful day. Should be a great crowd. UMass is a team that's played a very, very difficult schedule, but they're much improved, and will be great competition for us. And then the following weekend we play App State. It's going to be a military appreciation weekend. If looks like that could be a deal where both teams are undefeated in the conference moving into that game, and so should be a big one from a conference standpoint. And then Arkansas State the next Thursday on ESPNU, and they're playing much better, undefeated in the conference, have won I think 4 or 5 in a row, and so it's going to be a really tough stretch for us, a stretch that really will determine much of our season. So need our fans out there supporting our guys, like they have all year.
Right, and still plenty of tickets available, I'm sure. I know ticket sales have been picking up, and these next few games, especially this weekend, should be a great opportunity to get out and watch some football. As you mentioned, beautiful weather. And UMass, a lot of people may not be familiar with him, but Coach Brown is pretty familiar with him. A lot of people may not know that he has a history with that team.
Yeah, that's his alma mater. Right. So that's he spent some time at Kentucky, but transferred to UMass and finished out his career there. And as a matter of fact, the head coach who's there now was coached when Neil was there. So unique experience there to be across the field from him and compete and coach against him. So I know he's looking forward to that, and he knows that program very well.
But then we'll go ahead and preview next weekend a little bit. Military appreciation, which is always a big day around here with all the military ties that Troy University has. So that will be a big one. But not only that game is going to be huge. App State has been playing very well. They're 6-2, Troy 6-1, and as you said, both teams could be undefeated going into that game in the Sun Belt.
It's going to be huge. In a lot of ways, like you said, military appreciation is always a special day. But just the fact that you may have 2 teams that are, like you said, undefeated in the conference, are getting votes in polls and things like that, and so just won't be a lot of bigger games across the country, quite honestly. And it's going to be a fun day. There's going to be a lot of things happening. And I would encourage people to come out, and you never know what kind of special announcements we'll have that day as well. So.
And one other thing we want to talk about, bowl tickets. I know that was something y'all had talked about and discussed. We talked about that last week. That's still ongoing. And how is that going?
It's going really well. We've had a great response from, to recap, we presented the opportunity to put down deposits for bowl tickets. Obviously, we don't know where we're going yet, but we know what our tie-ins are from a conference standpoint. And so it's going really well. We've had a great response the first week or so. I expect, to have a couple of surges. Hopefully we win some games moving forward, and that should pick up as we continue to go. But I've been really pleased with the response to this point.
And again, not necessarily binding. I mean, you can buy them, and if it ends up being a place you can't go to, you can donate them, you can get your money back, but it's a chance to reserve those just in case.
That's correct.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I know a lot going on this weekend and a lot to look forward to.
Thanks, John.
All right. Stay tuned for more coming up on Inside Troy Athletics. And welcome back to Inside Troy Athletics. And now we're going to talk men's basketball with the head coach of that program, Coach Phil Cunningham. And Coach, the season is finally here. Exhibition to start the season this week, and then you've got regular season games coming up next week that we'll talk about in a second. But AUM this Thursday here at home for an exhibition game. So kind of get to play around with some things, but it's a great chance to really get to see your team in action.
It is, John. In particular, it's really good for our new players because they haven't played in Trojan Arena.
Right.
Trojan Arena, the two video boards at the end of each the court on each side, those are the two biggest video boards in college basketball in the entire country. So they haven't played with those videos playing and that banner running. Right. So for those guys in particular, it's really a good experience for them, and it's good for everybody to get out. But the NCAA allows us to play we play one closed scrimmage, and then we play an exhibition game. So we had our closed scrimmage last weekend. Went really well, a lot of pleasing things, got some things we need to work on. This will be different because now it's a non-Division I opponent. They've traditionally been a real established, successful program. So we don't know much about them going into the game, but we kind of just go out there and play them and kind of react on the fly.
So there's not a lot of scouting going in this game. Maybe you look at the rosters and see how you'll match up, but not a lot of video.
Not like a typical game. Right. We'll go back and watch last year's game, but their roster almost completely changed over. They've got all kinds of new junior college transfers. I think they'll be better than they were last year, but there's no way to know until we step out there Thursday night. So we don't put a whole lot of emphasis on scouting report for this particular game. But starting next week, we'll really dive in deep in preparation.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about those games. Toccoa Falls, that's going to open up next Friday, the day before the big Appalachian State football game, which everybody's excited about. So you're saying, hey, y'all come on, watch us the Friday night. What do you know about Toccoa Falls?
We don't know a whole lot about them. The Sun Belt Conference allows us to play two non-Division I opponents, so we always try to find one at a good point in our schedule where it fits for a home game. And then our game in Dothan, we use that second game against a non-D1 to play an opponent down there in Dothan because it's not a real home game for us. So we don't know a whole lot about Toccoa Falls. Hopefully we'll be okay in that one, and then we can move on and get ready for Eastern Illinois on Monday night. But we're really excited about playing home on Friday night with the App State football game on Saturday because it's going to be a really exciting weekend in Troy.
Yeah, it should be a great atmosphere for basketball. What do you know about Eastern Illinois? Will you get to scout them before Toccoa Falls or just that Saturday?
We have, John. We've advanced scouted every opponent except Toccoa Falls there. And so we've watched them on video already, probably about a month ago. We looked at their roster, all the new players. They've got their entire starting backcourt coming back. They're 1, 2, and 3. They've got a really good point guard coming back. They lost a really good four-man, but they had some guys sitting out and brought in some junior college transfers. They were really competitive in the Ohio Valley Conference last year. So we expected the Eastern Illinois game to be a tough game.
And then just what about your team? I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but what are you excited about going into this week and then next week?
Well, our team has really had a tremendous preseason. From the day we could start practice on the first day of October up until now, we've gotten better. We've gotten better every week. And as a coach, that's what you want to do. It doesn't always work out that way, but we've certainly gotten better. Alex Hicks, we talked about him some in the past, but from a physical standpoint, he's ahead of schedule, which has really been an exciting thing for us with our team because we were worried at one point, would he be ready for the season opener? And is he ready for that first big road trip we take? Well, he played 25 minutes in our closed scrimmage last weekend, so he's ready. He's certainly not 100%, but he played well. He played well offensively. He's got to get better defensively. So having him back is just really an added bonus moving into the first game of the season.
And something else I know you've talked about a little bit is just you're excited about the depth and some of the height on your team, the length that you have this year.
Well, traditionally we've played, in our first 3 years here, we played two guards on the wing. Right. For example, last year we had Tat Person on one wing and Jeremy Hallman on the other. They're both shooting guards. They're both 6'2", 6'3", two guards. We felt like we needed to get bigger on the wing. We brought in Devon Walker from Florida, 6'5", 6'6", athletic wing. Played real well Saturday in his first time really playing in a while. So we think on the perimeter we're going to be bigger, but even inside we've added depth. We added Alex Hicks. We added Juan Davis. So we think we're going to be a much improved rebounding team. And one thing we've told our team over and over is we've got to make the depth of this team a strength of ours, because it can go the other way too, John. It can be a negative if guys start worrying about playing time, shots taken, how much did I play last night? How much am I going to play tonight? If they start thinking like that, it can become a negative. If we can get past all that stuff and make depth an issue, whereas we're wearing down the other team with our depth, with our defensive pressure, it can be a real ally to our team.
That's exactly right, Coach. Well, a lot to look forward to, and I know a great chance to go out and see your team Thursday night and then again next week, so we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, stay tuned for more coming up on Inside Troy Athletics. And welcome back to Inside Troy Athletics, and we're going to talk cross country with Coach Elliot Blount of that program. And Coach, we've been talking about the Dothan meet and the Sun Belt Cross Country Championships for the past few weeks now. Finally got to compete in that last weekend. Not the results you were looking for from your team, but you say your team still performed pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, on the women's side, everyone minus one or two runners, had their best time on that course, so you can't really fault them for that. And on the men's side, we didn't execute as well as we could have to place a little bit higher, but I thought they ran pretty well, all things considered. Very young team, 2 redshirt freshmen and 3 sophomores ended up scoring for us. So we're going to head down with the men down to the regional meet here in 2 weeks to see what they can do on another big stage.
Well, talking about that Sun Belt meet, does it just show the strength of the Sun Belt and how it's getting better?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just reiterates to the point that we have to be ready to elevate our game when it comes down to it. I think if we do that a little bit better in the future, we'll have a better result come that day. But yeah, the Sun Belt is getting pretty good.
And overall, just the quality of the meet, how did the
oh my
turn
goodness
out?
Yeah, no, we've been at that course, I think I would say as early as May, June last year, just kind of scouting it out, seeing what we're going to do in Troy Sportsplex or down in Dothan. And to have it come together the way it did with the help of the physical plant here, Tony Ferrante and our guys, and Scott Craig and those guys down there, and I mean, Stacy and we call her Dothan Sandy. They've been a pretty good help for us. So they did a good job, and it came together where we got nothing but rave reviews from the coaches. So I think we'll do it again when we have a chance.
Even heard there was a great turnout from fans there as well.
We had some alumni come up to me after the race and say this is awesome. They're glad that we had a few meets here, and if we can keep kind of get that groundswell of support, coming back, to bring it back to where it was, about 20 years ago here in Troy for cross country, then we'll be in good shape.
And all right, so you talked about you're going to take the men's team down to Tallahassee for NCAA regionals. Explain that process and just what you're looking for out of that.
Yeah, so we got a young group, and I think if they're going to be able to do something in the future, they have to be on the stage to see what they're capable of in a big scenario setting like this. Excuse me. So I'm excited about it. This isn't like one of those reward trips where we go down there. It's national. We get to have fun. I got to see if this group is going to be the group that can do things in the future.
All right, and also has worked toward the indoor season yet? Is that in preparation?
So like my mid-D people who didn't run in cross, I work with the mid-distance runners as well. They're chomping at the bit. So I've been giving them a little bit here and there, and we have our intra-squad meet coming up the 27th, Dead Day. The 7th of December on Dead Day, and that'll be their first kind of coming out party. So I'm looking forward to it.
They're all ready for it.
Oh yeah, they're ready.
All right, well that's coming up, and I know NCAA regionals coming up not this Friday, but the following Friday.
Correct,
so
11th.
Good luck there, and looking for some good results.
Appreciate it.
All right, join us for more coming up on Inside Troy Athletics. We are back for our final segment here on Inside Troy Athletics. Going to talk some volleyball with Coach Sonny Kirkpatrick. And Coach, last week was a pretty good one for you. You snapped that long losing streak over South Alabama, which is always a great win over a rival. Then you were able to take a match over App State in a hard-fought volleyball game, and then faced Coastal Carolina on Saturday. They're a very good team, but your team played well, but they just showed why they are that number one team in the East Division. But let's go ahead and talk about those 2 wins, especially that win over South Alabama.
Well, one, like you stated, anytime you can beat South Alabama as a Trojan, it adds a little bit of extra incentive to you. And the girls really played well. And we've started the last couple weeks to really make some good plays. And it was good for them to go out and work so hard and be rewarded with the win. And breaking the streak helps as well. Right. And again, against South Alabama, that's always a great thing. App State was really, don't let their record fool you. They've been injured. They started a lot of freshmen as well. And at the end of the day, our seniors kind of led our young kids through there, and to win in 5, it's a really good feeling. And they gave us a lot of momentum going into Saturday, and like you said, Coastal Carolina was just better than us. we competed pretty well.
Right.
We did some really good things, and we were in the right place to make plays, and they hit over top of our block, and they did what they needed to do to be a premier team in the country, not just the conference.
And then Saturday against Coastal Carolina was also senior night, chances to honor 3 seniors on your team, Sarah Landis, Leah Causey, and Simone Shaw, for all they've done for your program. So can you just tell us about them and what they've done for Troy volleyball?
Well, Simone's been our only 4-year senior here, so she was a freshman when we beat Western Kentucky in the arena, the first round of the Sun Belt playoffs in 2013. And she's just meant so much to our program as far as just her willingness to do anything that it took to make herself better and help our team get better. Sarah came in January 2 years ago, so she had a chance to compete all spring with us, and just really good in leadership aspect. She's a go-to player for us, and we expect huge things out of her every time she's on the floor. And Leah, coming in again as a junior transfer at a junior college, really stabilized our middle, and we've thrown her into serve receive this year, and she's just done a great job. That's not a traditional spot you see a middle hitter in serve receive, but she's passed and played really good defense for us. So they've all done different things, but they've all been very, very inspirational, and they've done a great job mentoring all of our young players.
And your season isn't done yet, still 2 weeks left to go, and you've got a chance mathematically to still work your way into the Sun Belt tournament, but you're going to have to play well these next couple of weeks, and that starts this weekend as you head to Louisiana to face those Louisiana schools, which are always a tough test.
It's a tough road trip, to be really honest, and Lafayette, we play there Friday night. Never an easy place for us to play, or pretty much anybody. It's a different gym. It's really loud. It's a cement kind of. I believe it was a bomb shelter during World War II. So it's a different environment to be in. We'll come out and we'll compete as best we can. I think we have a really good matchup against them. The things that we do well, they don't necessarily do well defensively, and kind of the other way, what they do well offensively, we're not great against defensively. So, we've got a lot of work to do, but Friday night will be a lot of fun to get out there and compete again.
I know you probably haven't got a chance to look at Louisiana Monroe a lot, but do you know much about their team this year?
Their coach has done a really nice job. Louisiana has very limited number of volleyball throughout the state. I want to say it's about 70 teams statewide, so there's not a lot of volleyball played there. So to get homegrown talent, they don't really have a lot to go after. But they've been very competitive. They've beaten some really good teams. They've also played really well against some of the teams in the West, and the West is a pretty good division as well. So I can't break down what they do well. I know that they're still relatively young, so they hit the peaks and valleys of a match every night too.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend, and we'll be pulling for you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
All right. Join us again next time for more on Inside Troy Athletics.